Can you share your experience going from Duke to Brown then?
So once I got to Duke, I got marks good enough for the coach to consider me for a tryout. And so I got to Duke and I spent 2 weeks with the team, training with them. And ultimately, the coach's decision came down to a time trial that we ran at the end of my 2 weeks there. And so I ran the time trial and I just wasn't up to their standards. So they said I didn't have a spot on the team, which was devastating. I remember it was probably the hardest thing to go through. I know how much blood, sweat, and tears I put into my gap year and how painful it was. And I really thought I earned the right to be on the team. And so when they said no, it really broke something in me. And it made me question a ton of different things. I started thinking back to my semester abroad, away from my family, if it was worth it, spending an entire 6 months, which was probably the last part of my adolescence that I'd be at home. And I was just like questioning if it was worth it. And so one last Hail Mary, I reached out to a bunch of Ivy League schools, which to me was the only jump I was willing to make because Duke is such an amazing university academics wise. And that was always my focus growing up. And so I reached out to a bunch of Ivy League schools and I said, if this doesn't work, then it's time to hang up the spikes. That was in like September. I knew I was transferring basically right after the tryouts. And I remember I was speaking with the Harvard coach for some time. He gave me a spot on the team, but wasn't able to help me with the admissions. So that was really up to me. And then it wasn't till like 3-4 months later that I got a word back from the Brown coach. And the only reason that happened was because my sister goes to Brown and she was floor mates with the team captain. And she asked the team captain to put in a word for me. And the coach got on a call with me. And he basically just said, look, sorry, I missed your email. Would love to give you a shot. These are the next steps. And so the entire year at Duke, I was training with a high school club, which is a really tough situation. I had to go to practice on my own. I had to, make up excuses if I had to skip classes for competitions. And it really was a situation where I just was like, am I in over my head? I'm not sure if this is really what I should be doing. But then eventually I got my letter back and I got into Brown. I tried reaching out to Duke again to see if they would take me the next year with my new marks from the year that I spent training by myself. And they weren't willing to take me again. So I decided to hedge my bets, take it out and commit to Brown. And this is my second year here, and it's honestly the best decision I ever made. Neck and neck with taking a gap year, I'd say.